Hello, hello. So does it switch? It does. Okay, cool. So mm, let's see where are we. So we loaded up this information. Ah, my bad. I think it was admin and password. Was admin password. Okay. So we have this database created, and then we have categories. Aha, we loaded this up multiple times. That's a problem. Hmm. So we need some sort of migration. We need some sort of migration. Hmm. I think I think this is readable now. Is this readable now? I hope so. Good. Hmm. Okay. So one of the things we have to kind of fix in here is that, let me remove this guy for now. One of the things we have to do is, so every time I load this up, a new entry will be created. So we can also check that by just saying Python name. And yeah, so it already broke it. But since it's, yeah, so another entry came in. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if you do this, there is 7 entries right now. So if I look at animals, there has to be 7 matches. Yeah, 1 of 7 matches. So that's kind of the problem in here, where we need some sort of a way to um, have a stopgap. All right, so not a stopgap, but we need some sort of information saying, hey, you loaded up the information, so election dot. One thing we can do is go by Mongo, and it was by Mongo election. So we got to help on this, and we should get something like count. Can you just give me a single place of all the methods? So count documents. I think this is what I want. Count documents. So I'll try to count the number of documents, in this collection, and for a fast count, okay. Estimated document count I don't need. So I suppose what we are looking at here is count document So if we do this, what was it? Documents. So why can it not give and thing that away? Okay, but that's fine. I suppose it's fine. Uh, okay. You also have to give it a filter. Hmm. Uh, I just say give me everything. There is 7. Cool. So what I want to do here is I want to just go here and I want to delete this stuff. Categories. And in here in my I'm gonna say if this thing is not is equal to 0, this is where I'm gonna do that. This is where I'm gonna do that. Does it make sense? Does it make sense? Yeah, I hope it makes sense. Okay, now the issue comes, we are not able to serialize this thing, right? So now if I just say Python main, inserting all categories, now if I look at this, it has a database and it has this, but if I run it again, it never actually loads up the categories. Pretty cool, right? In here, okay, so you have this. So you have this, and we need this to be a particular JSON, right? So let's actually first. तुम हो क्या? Okay, so this is what we are looking at. Let's wrap this up. So this is what we are looking at. This is a list of descriptions, right? A list of descriptions. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna say for d in value. So now it's a single d dot, what was it? So we can say JSON dumps d class is description encoder or description JSON encoder. What did we say? Description encoder, and intent is 4. And this can be called as the string version, right? Aha, we got it. So these are all the string versions, right? These are all the string versions. Use scraping for ML? No, I'm not scraping for ML. No. So if you look at my previous truth streams, but yeah. Do I have GitHub logged in here? I don't have. But anyways, that should not stop me from showing you what I need. GitHub Okay, so 5 years back, as you can see here, 5 years back, and you can look at this particular thing. This was a project asked for an interview review. So it was an interview for Postman, and they came up with this question. It's a very simple question saying, okay, there are three APIs. One of them gives you back a token, which is an authentication token. One of them gives you back a list of categories, and then it mentions here, okay. So one of them gives you back categories, and all of those categories will have certain APIs along, like API descriptions along with it, right? And you have to write a client which first gets the token and then gets all the categories, this is page stuff like that, and then you get the API data for all the categories and you store it in your own system. The only thing is it's rate limited, so you can only make 10 requests per second, and it has 5 minutes of TTL for your token, 5 minutes of TTL for your token. So I created this particular project, and back then I wrote a couple of things which I feel that, which I feel that, okay, you have to come up with certain better things to do. But yeah, anyways, so I just wanted to revisit this particular exercise and do it again and see if, like, write a scraper again with the very basic stuff saying, okay, you again get the token, get the categories, get the API data, and store it in the MongoDB stuff. Well, I'm using MongoDB for storage. You can use anything else. But here's the thing that I first saw when I started doing this, that whatever APIs are hosting this data, so there's also a public API, GitHub repository with all the information. So there's something called index, which is basically the categories. And if you go for any category, it has the data stuff in here. So you have a API, you have a description, auth, HTTPS scores, right? And this is what you're supposed to scrape. But the problem is that the APIs which were hosted on Heroku are not live anymore. So since I wanted to do the client side, now I also have to build the server side, which gives you back the data. So right now what I did was I think it's in here. Yeah, I downloaded the data and I scraped off everything which is not required. So I'm only keeping the categories and the descriptions along with it. And I wrote a simple loader which would basically parse this entire thing into categories and load it up. So right now we have loaded up all the categories as this particular single document, which is these are all the categories that you have. And now I'm just trying to load up the individual data set of each and every category. So each and every category will be a collection in itself. Each and every category will be a collection in itself, and it will have number of documents, which is basically what to say, which is basically like the data. So I'm not scraping any data for a scraping repos for ML. I'm just trying to revisit sorry for that. I'm trying to revisit one of my old projects. Well, it was not an interview for me, but it was for a friend of mine, and it was from Postman. And I thought, okay, I'll do that. So I did it 5 years back, and I am trying to do it again. And one more thing is the rate limiting that I did was using so I guess there has to be some client. Do you have a client? Yeah, so I was using this limits and things like that because I was using a library for doing this kind of thing for rate limiting, the rate limited client and things like that. Because of how you're managing the rate limited, there can be cases where the token is not expired, but still when it comes alive, it is. Yeah, that makes sense. But anyways, so I'm just trying to rebuild it again and see if it's better. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. I hope I answered your question, Track. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. I think I've seen you for the first time. Welcome. Well, one thing I do not like here is that it actually kind of gives you a string and not a. Well, that should also be fair. It should also be fair, right? Because now that you have all of these, it can be appended together as a string, as a list. Because now I can say with this thing, and this is this data send. Okay. Now if I print data, collection and the data, if I do that, hmm, okay. I do not want a new line. If the intent is a non-negative, then JSON arrays and object will be pre-printed with that indent level. An indent of level will only insert new lines. None is the most compact representation. So if I say none, it's gonna be this. Is that what you're trying to say? Because I really need that, I feel. So we don't have the new lines. We can see that we don't have the new lines. So one thing I want to do here is that not that. So I want to break right away. Okay, so we have one of these, and it's for animals. I hope this is correct. It looks correct. Looks correct. Well, you have pets in here first. Things like that. Okay. So it looks correct to me. So, what can we do? Shouldn't be a single document. It shouldn't be a single document, right? Shouldn't be a single document, I feel. But in MongoDB, how do I even do offsets and things like that? I'm pretty sure we can do that. So we're just gonna ignore this for now. Let's insert the data as a single document. What do you say? What do you say? What is the implications of that? Well, you have a single document. you have a collection with a single document, and you can just like when you want to return back the data, you can just find it. Uh, because server side is not really the main thing that we're trying to work on. We try to like learn on the client side of how to do the scraping. So creating the server, we are only creating the server because the APIs, the actual APIs which is serving the data is down. So we are trying to recreate the APIs by ourselves. So I guess it should be fine. Insert one, and in here I'm just gonna say this is the data. In here, this is the data. Do we have to insert anything else? I don't think so. We have to do anything else. We don't have to do anything else right now. Oh, sorry. Sorry. Inserting data for just giving. Okay. That didn't work. Why it didn't work? If you meant to call count database on a database, it's failing because no such. Yeah, I didn't want to do that. So why is this not a thing? So we can say in here. Aha! I'm sorry. Oh, boom. Oh, we don't need that, but that's fine. That's not the point. So we have all of these information. If I go here, and that's pretty much it. We loaded up the data. We loaded up this freaking data, and we should be good. And these are all valid JSONs, right? I mean, if it's not a valid JSON, if I'm not wrong, it should have failed, or I can give garbage value. JSON validator. Fuck you. Oh, wait. It has all this stuff. Why does it have all this stuff? It's a string, not a... it's a string. It's not really a JSON. How can I just create a JSON? I need to create a dictionary. That's a problem, and the easiest way to do that is public API data DB. And yeah, I understand what went wrong here. Boom, a boom, a boom. So one of the things we can do here is that we don't want to do this. We can just say d dot to JSON, right? We have this, and here also, do we call to JSON anywhere else? No, right? This is the only place that we are trying to call. So that's the only place that we need to do this. So yeah, you can go out here. So the question is, how do we do this? We can steal a little bit of code from here. But I think the easiest way is, okay, let's look at from this perspective. From data classes, import data class, class A. Let's just say B is a string, C is a everything is a string in our case, so it's gonna be that. Yeah. So A is equal to B and C, and you have A and B, right? So now There is something called dict, if I'm not wrong. Look at that. So you have that. You have that. And this is the value. And why don't I? So what is the corresponding like inbuilt method of dict? Uh, corresponding under method dict. These are very two different things. Dict holds the object. But I don't want to know that. I just want to know, is there a method? So there's also something called pairs. What does it that do? According to Python documentation, is a dictionary or other mapping object used to store an object's writable attributes. So speaking, you know what? Uh, why can I just not return this? Who said I cannot return this, right? So you go to the database, you go to animals. Yeah. Now this looks weird, but now we have a proper structure. The only difference here is that each and individual is not a it's not a document. Ideally, it should have been a document. Right. Ideally, it should have been a document. Oh shit, I forgot to put in my water. I'll just quickly do that. But I'm not sure how to go about this. That's fine. We'll just fetch everything and then return it back to the page to me. Yeah, who cares, right? So I guess we are done. Uh, so yes, this is one thing that we're doing. We are seeing if collections, things like that. Uh, okay. So this looks good to me. Uh, complete the data parsing loop. Also, let me quickly log in to GitHub. I'm just gonna stop sharing. Okay, we are back. We are back. We are back. Okay, cool. So, as far as I remember, what needs to be done is, so let's go inside apiary. Let's go inside apiary. Let's go inside server and source bin activity. So as far as I remember, we already did all of the downloads. Yeah, so we already did all of the downloads. That seems pretty good. That seems pretty good. Okay. Instead of main, what I would like to do is call it server. Server. So, so in here, the application is gonna be called. The application is gonna be called V1 categories. So there's API, API V1 categories. Group the routes together. We can do that. As far as I remember, we can do that. But it's gonna be a get application, and we're also gonna install PyMongo in here. It's called server now. And now, what I do want to do here is that I want to first see PyMongo.mongo client, MongoDB, root. I'm not wrong. That's how you do. Password @ localhost 2017 210 bit. What is the root again? 27017. Okay. So now this gives you back a client. This gives you back a client. So in here, once you get back the client, you have to say client of public API data DB. We gotta say this is a database, and then DB dot DB of categories is the collection, and collection dot find one. This is what we're supposed to get, the data. This of 0. Fuck. Did I drop? Okay. I think there's a power cut, which means I need to stop my stream. Awesome. On a Saturday evening, there's a Saturday afternoon, there's a power cut, which means you cannot get shit done. Awesome. Oh, it came back. Yeah, it's not gonna work. Okay, so we're gonna stop the stream right away, and we'll see you later. Thank you.